Back in the heyday of my youth, my father every single day after work would come home, he'd whip out a cold one, and he'd tell me, "Son, tell me about your day at school." And as I began to express my joy upon somebody finally taking interest in my small things, he would go immediately to sleep after drinking his beer. Every day, for at least 3 months he did this. I remember this, because this was the greatest era of my father. He bought an iToy for me on the PS2. We played the iToy games. It was really fun. I enjoyed every aspect of what my dad did during those 3-month stretches. He smoked cigarettes, he was fine, he was outside in the garage, he was having bonfires with the neighbors, everything was fun. Then one day, my mother actually stood up to him. Now this was the mark of the 180 of what my dad was. My dad naturally was a very strong man, very passionate, very charismatic. And these are traits that I have as well in him. He and I have very similar mannerisms. However, there were also dark parts of what he was. Manipulative, alcoholic, abusive, drunk. Every aspect of what he was coalesced into what I am today. I am not a drunk. I will never drink and have never drunk in my entire life. I will never smoke in my entire life. I do not want to become what he is or what he initially became in the later parts of his years. I do not wish to have that demon be buried deeply inside of my soul. My father is a great man. He's nuanced, he's clever, he's fun, but he is a horrible, horrible parent. Perhaps the worst of all things. To his friends, he is kind and he is amazing. To those around him and his family, he is godlike. But to the people that he loves or claims he loves, such as his children and anybody that has chosen to lay betwixt the sheets with him, he is always and will always be the worst human imaginable. And that's the nuance of humans, I believe. A contradictory statement. If someone says they support your cause, you assume they support everything that you support as well. Oh, he really likes Steven Universe. Yeah, but I saw him donate to a PDF file. What? He's a Trump supporter and watches Steven Universe? That's crazy. You don't really see those two things go hand in hand, but you do actually. You do. Because humans, in all aspects, are very, very nuanced. And I had an abusive father. An abusive, alcoholic, drunk, narcissistic, cold and callous, very messed up, but fun when he was drunk father. That's what I had. Most times when he had money, he would give it out to everybody, buying us dinners and things of that variety, but complaining that we didn't eat the entire meal, hitting me and striking me when I didn't finish my plate, taking me out on camping trips and forcing me to stay out in the cold while he stayed in the car because I didn't set up my tent properly and he was angry. One time he had my older brother hold me down while he struck me repeatedly, bruising my stomach. I retaliated in kind. One day I said, "You need to stop hitting me." I was old enough to actually talk back. He said, "Stop playing with me." I bought $75 worth of Cheetos, which was 300 bags because it was $4 back in the day. I crushed them all up and put them in our basements, and we had a horrible infestation of ants for a while. I was happy because that infestation, to get rid of it, cost him $7,000. I hit his bank account. The only thing I could do when I was younger. After that, he beat me. Horribly so. Messed up the back of my teeth. Destroyed me. Broke my jaw. I didn't know about CBS or CSB, whatever it is. Had no idea about any of that. Didn't know what to do. So, I naturally got hit again. And I said, "You'll get what's coming to you." He, not taking my threat seriously, didn't know that I was going to put baking soda and flour inside of his gas tank, causing his cars to have $12,000 worth of damages to it. He was stressed and panicked from all the money he was wasting because he kept hitting me. And after that, he stopped, but he was still mean with his words. My parents got divorced and I didn't have to deal with him. But my mother was deeply in love with him. Deeply. And despite the fact that they were divorced, they still lay betwixt the sheets with one another. My older brother was living with him. I chose to live with my mother. And after all this, after all that, those horrible moments, My brother ended up not being able to graduate because he kept getting locked out of my father's house while my father was out chasing tail. This is the reality of my life and my story. And it was beautiful, I think. Because despite every bad thing I've told you, he's really good at Tekken. Amazing at Tekken. He's an amazing bowler. As a matter of fact, he's horrifically hilarious. Probably one of the funniest people that I know. I enjoy the way his cadence is. He's a great dancer. He's amazing at karaoke. He's reveled in the DJ scene all around Ohio and Michigan and some parts of Pennsylvania. He travels endlessly. He's very traveled in culture, knows an amazing wealth of world knowledge. He can play guitar and piano. As a matter of fact, he can mix and master most vocals, and he knows how to produce. He has worked with record labels. He's appeared in 3 movies, actually. And he has a tenured legacy of great friends that will vouch for him no matter what happens. Even recently, when he got convicted of striking somebody outside of a bar, he got jumped, and he was able to reconcile those damages. And to that, I say, what an amazing person he is. What a godlike, crazy, nuanced, just beautiful human being. And I'm able to acknowledge the good and bad in every single person because I don't believe good and bad exist. I think everyone, and fundamentally everything, is one of 2 parts. The parts that benefit you and the parts that don't. That's pretty much it. The parts where your morality thinks it exists and the parts where it doesn't. The beauty of having an abusive father, the beauty of having it, is many things can happen. You could learn from him and view him as a pillar of strength. And you could watch as that pillar gets destroyed. As you get stronger, he gets weaker. And you can Stockholm syndrome yourself into believing that you actually cared about him, when in reality you were abused and tortured so bad that you feel bad for him, and it's pity and not love. It's a big difference between those 2 things. And you feel as though he's responsible for half of your creation. So you have to love him. You have to, in some way, feel great about this man. But you don't. There's no pride in anything that he's done. You don't enjoy him at all. You hate everything he's ever done. You don't feel like he's an actual person to you. You feel like he's destroying you. You feel like you've lost a part of yourself every time you talk to him. But he's kinder now. He's softer. He doesn't have the strength to harm you. He's shorter than you because his spine is misaligned. He can't harm you anymore. And you're significantly stronger. But you don't want to hurt him because you don't want to be like him. So you do nothing. And the second half of that entire thing, the second half, is you could become exactly like him. You could be abusive, alcoholic, drunk, treat women as secondary objects, treat men as secondary objects because your father perhaps didn't have a preference as mine didn't. The beauty of this entire statement of having an abusive father, the beauty of witnessing the torture and horrifying anger that he brought in every situation, and having the anger issues and the anger management of a child, the anger management skills of a literal child, and being a bully to everybody around you and witnessing nothing but torture and vitriol the entire way through, is you have a blueprint for a breakthrough. A blueprint of what not to do. How not to operate. No good role models. You don't really know what to do, but you know what to avoid. You know that it hurts you and it hurt those around you. And I think the beautiful thing about this generation is that we will be the first generation of parents to know that we are actually destroying and damaging our children with the way we behave. Because back in the day, they didn't know. They thought that parenting was just this, and they went through it, so they thought everybody had to go through it. They didn't know about mental health or mental issues or trauma or things that are SSRIs or the mental illnesses that probably populate most of them. They didn't know about narcissism. They didn't know about BPD. They didn't know about trauma. They had no idea. They thought shell shock was something only applicable to people in the army. That is what they knew. We have an infinite storehold of knowledge now to explain to our parents how deeply they've destroyed us into the people we are today. We now have that. And they may discover something about themselves too. And I choose kindness. I will always, 160% of the time, choose kindness. Even if it destroys me and breaks me down, even if I describe the trespasses you've done to me, I will not stop talking to you. Even if you wish for my destruction and absolute chaotic vitriol within my soul, even if you don't want to talk to me, even if you think I'm evil, even if you want something from me and you've destroyed me and just made a call-out post about me 7 times over, everything is predicating on the fact that I will always, no matter how much you disrespect me, be kind. Why? There's no benefit to me. If someone's mean, you gotta be mean back to them. What are you, a child? That's what kids do. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. I refuse to be Stevie Wonder. I'm not Ray Charles. All I do is think about everything in my life that I could have done better and kinder, and I will make sure that I don't have any regrets, because hell is not a fire pit, but a museum of regrets. And every time I'm kind, I'm so much further away from my father that it makes me feel like I'm resolute in my stance and stance points. I am happy to be here. So that is the beauty to me of an abusive father. The beauty is knowing of what not to do in this reality and how to exist. And if you yourself have an abusive parent, whether it be a narcissistic mother, abusive father, if you were struck as a child, if you were hit with a switch, if you were hit with a whip, if they asked you to go grab a branch from outside and get one that's big, if they asked you all these things, if they punished you for nothing, if they broke your phone, if they broke your computer, if they annihilated you, if they beat your siblings in front of you, if they abused your mother, if they yelled at your father, if they burnt down the house for no apparent reason other than to prove a point, if they went out to the casino and gambled everything away, if they were drunk every single night, if they had a special chair that they had that nobody else could sit in, if you've had these people, if you had all these things that have happened to you, then I love you. And I know it may be cringy to hear that and it may suck, but you probably haven't heard it in a while. But I thank you for existing. Thank you so much. Well, that's the end of the video. If you guys want to follow my Patreon, despite that horrifying thing I probably gave you a little bit of a shell shock, I have a Patreon linked in the description below. Also, I'm currently going through a lot of bodily pains. If you want to support me in my GoFundMe, send a comment pinned in the top below. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a lovely day. Good night and bye. Click off the video. Click off the video. I can't hold this stance for much longer. Please click off the video. Oh, you're testing me. Okay, I'll play your game. I'm playing your game, my Winnie. I lost. You got me.